Today's big question: what is going on at Iran's Fordow nuclear plant? We have seen satellite photos of this facility, which is carved into the side of a mountain. But what do those photos actually tell us? And why should we care about Fordow? Let's get into it. Hey there, welcome to the channel. So this is Fordow. And as you can see, it is a nuclear plant in Iran that has been the source of some recent kerfuffle. It was built in the early 2000s, so before the 2015 nuclear deal, and it was not mentioned in that deal. So it was basically like a secret or hidden nuclear site. Iran had not declared to the UN as required under their non-proliferation agreements. They did declare it after the fact. The reason they gave at the time was that it was being used for research purposes only. Okay, but let's look at what's actually going on here. What's so bad about Fordow? As you can see from these photos, it's underground, and this is significant because it makes it very hard to detect by satellites. Unlike the nuclear plants that are closer to the surface where you can see the cooling towers, this makes it really difficult to know what is going on here. Is there nuclear fuel being produced here? Are they enriching uranium? What is going on? Because if they're just doing research, then this shouldn't be an issue. And it turns out that this is one of 3 sites that Iran is currently not allowing the UN nuclear inspectors to visit. So obviously, as the outside world, we get very nervous when we hear about a hidden nuclear plant that isn't being inspected. So it might be that they're re-enriching uranium to the point where it can be used in a bomb. Right now, Iran says they are not doing that, but they also said in the past that they were UN doing it, and then they were caught doing it. The other 2 places that Iran is not letting the UN nuclear inspectors visit are the former JAK and Iraq nuclear sites. And they also say that those are just research facilities as well. Now, the problem with Fordow in particular is that it is too deep underground to be monitored by the current satellites that are monitoring other nuclear sites. So they need to use other means to figure out what's going on. One of the ways they do this is by listening for noises and vibrations from the plant. So for example, if there are seismic sounds, that might mean that they're redoing some sort of test explosion or detonation that might indicate that they're retrying to develop a nuclear weapon. Another way is through satellite imagery, but satellite imagery isn't great for looking at what's going on beneath the surface, right? Like you can't see through the earth to see what's going on. However, what you can do is look at the changes in the parking lots. For example, if there are more cars parked around the facility, that might mean that workers are being brought in to work on the site, which suggests that it's not just a dormant research site that's being used every once in a while, but rather it's a site that's being actively worked on. That's what the US intelligence community thinks is happening. So in September, they released a report saying that there are signs of increased activity at Fordow, which does not appear to be consistent with the stated purpose of the site, which again is research. Now, the International Atomic Energy Agency is not convinced that there is, quote, any indication of undeclared nuclear activities at these locations, end quote. But the fact that Iran won't let them inspect is very suspicious. Also, very suspicious is that Iran has recently started spinning up the centrifuges at Fordow. Again, they say that they're just doing this to test the equipment. But this is the same story they gave before they were caught cheating on the nuclear deal in 2018. Okay, it could be that Iran is telling the truth. Maybe they are just doing basic research at Fordow, and it doesn't have anything to do with developing nuclear weapons? Or maybe they're lying and Fordow is a secret nuclear weapons facility. Who knows? I'm not an expert on this stuff, but I do think it is important to know about Fordow and the other hidden nuclear sites in case things do eventually start heating up in the Middle East, and we need to know what is going on. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.